Dark Souls 3 was the last From Software game that actually had covenants, so well, you can already guess, or if you had reading comprehension, you can read the title and know I'm gonna try to beat the game with only covenant items. What an intro, huh. Anyway, like Dark Souls 1, there's a total of 9 covenants. In Dark Souls 1, there was 3 PvE covenants and then 5 PvP, and the Chaos Servant was just kinda there. However, in Dark Souls 3, there's a much more uneven split in terms of what each covenant does. This time, there's a total of 8 PvP covenants and 1 co-op, that being the Warriors of Sunlight. I guess you could make the argument that Mound Makers can technically be considered PvE too. It's like partial hybrid, but also, who's doing Mound Makers for PvE? Anywho, 6 out of the 9 covenants give out covenant rewards to the player for the specific covenant trophy. And well, we're going to beat the game with those rewards. But first, if you like what I do, consider giving me a like and subscribing. It's like a little tip. If you want to support me more, I have YouTube memberships. I'm bad at posting on there, but give me money and I will be obligated to do better. Also, once again, if you can't tell, I'm sick, so, sorry, the audio's not gonna be too great, and the script kind of fucking sucks, so, I might just be making fun of myself during this whole thing. We'll see how the recording goes. I went with the Sellsword Windblade to start off with a good base weapon, until we were able to get into the Undead Settlement. Gundyr is Gundyr, and we grab the Coiled Sword, and do the tree jump to grab the Estus Shard, and trade some stuff with Stugly for 2 Twinkling Titanite. Behind Firelink as well is another Twinkling Titanite. The high wall has little for us. I sprint to the second bonfire, grab the second Estus Shard here before jumping off the balcony, and head into the Vort fight. Vort is always the same, stick under or preferably behind him. In Phase 2, he will do the charge 3 times and you can just dodge through it. That's what normally happens, but I staggered him out of it somehow. Anyway, just stick to his arms or legs and boom, he's down. In the high wall, we can finally get our build going. We sprint to the bridge bonfire, grabbing the third Estus Shard on the way, and trigger the Hodrick spawn. When he ends up doing my job for me, we get a Vertebrae Shackle, which is for the Covenant coming up. Back at the second bonfire, we can go across the bridge and up into the roofs and drop off and enter a cage. We get thrown into the Pit of Hollows and meet up with Hodrick to join the Mound Makers. Now, for the sake of recording, I'm going to be just giving myself the needed Covenant items for the run. It would simply take too long to farm all of them, and if you care, go watch my Chaos Playthrough video. Okay? But for 10 totally earned shackles, we can get one of 2 weapons of this run, the Bloodlust. Bloodlust takes 11 strength and 24 dex to wield, and we're able to get it to a +2 with the Twinkling Titanite from earlier. The katana is the famous seppuku katana because by stabbing yourself with it, you coat the blade in your blood and it gains a 30% damage buff for 45 seconds. How is it? Well, I don't know if this is just a result of me using the Chaos Blade at minimum stats previously or not, but this weapon fucks. Tree Balls isn't a great representation of what this weapon can do, so let's, some level up, some running around, going through row sacrifices. Here, just watch the Sage fight unedited. So yeah, it fucks alright. I mean, I'm not even that high level. I'm close to minimum stats with the fucking thing. After Sage, I got 2 more levels for Dex and continued into the Cathedral, grabbing 2 more Twinkling Titanite on the way. Outside the bonfire, we pick up the next Estus Shard and get another 2 Twinkling Titanite down by the river. I scale the Cathedral outer walls, getting the second Undead Bone Shard, and on the inside, I sprint straight for the Deacons, and well, with the +3 Bloodlust and the buff, it's not hard at all. But while the Deacons are rotting in hell, there's still another thing to do here. I head back to the elevator next to the bonfire and take it up to go see Rosaria. She's the leader of Rosaria's Fingers, and for the first reward from her, I grab the Mangrove Staff. I barely used this. I was going to explain this later, but I'll explain it now. There's too many different items to use effectively, so I kind of fall into the default of using the melee weapons. I can't actively stat into both faith and dex and strength, along with the base stats of vigor and stamina. So this often leads me to having very underpowered spells. I do get a hybrid build going at the end, but I can't use everything, and there's just simply, it's too much to try and juggle it all. So, yeah! If you're wondering why I'm not grabbing all the rewards at once, that's because I wanted to unlock more rewards after each boss. And that system works if you remember to go get new rewards, which I did not. In hindsight, it would have just been better for me to just give myself the rewards for the Covenant, but the video's recorded and you're here watching anyway. Onwards to Ithal we go. Down in the mucky swamp, we can grab another Estus Shard and Bone Dust as we extinguish the flames around us and take on the Abyss Watchers. I can't even describe this fight because of how good this katana is. It's just over too fast. I can't be funny when I'm doing this good. It's not fair to me, the scripter. Some more level ups later, another Twinkling Titanite, and another Covenant. Here at the Old Wolf of Ferret, we can get the Old Wolf's Curved Sword. That is really hard to say. Now this sword is a bit special, and we're going to put it in our offhand even though we can't wield it just yet. While it's equipped, it grants you the effects of both Pontiff Rings, that being gaining health and damage on consecutive attacks. So with a fast weapon on top of it, yeah, it's gonna do great so far. With just 2 weapons, no armor, no rings, we're able to have a pretty great build going on here. In the Catacombs, we can get another Twinkling Titanite before getting boned beyond belief. Twice. Another Bone Shard and Wolnir is easy if you're not me. After getting revenge on Big Bones, no one's getting that reference for like at least a few more videos. Trust me, I'll make another video about the games from my childhood and that'll make sense. So come back to this one when that's out. We can head down to Found Izalith and get another Twinkling and another Bone Shard. I usually take on the Skinny Asylum Demon later in the run, but I was just here and I didn't want to come back, so he was actually the first boss to give me a little bit of trouble. He genuinely kept roll catching me, and without any armor, his attacks kinda hurt. Yeah, they hurt a lot. Genuinely, this fight took me a few tries to get down. Everything was kind of against me in this fight. I usually fight him a lot later on. I haven't touched this game in 3 months for obvious reasons. And I had no armor, but of course I got him down eventually. I just had to learn the roll catches. With my business done here in the first half of the game, we can finally head into Ithal. Imagine I record separate lines for different comments that are left on my videos complaining about how I say Ithal. Okay, you know what? You're right. I don't pronounce it right. I often misread things due to having dyslexia and a combination of reading fast, so I often slip up and it gets ingrained in my head, so thank you for those comments calling me out. And now, I'm going to say it as much as possible. Enjoy! In Ithal, we cross the Ithal Bridge with one of Pontiff's dogs chasing us. We get to the second Ithal bonfire, which is named Central Ithal, even though it's not even in the center of Ithal. Anyways, we get the local greeting by the Ithal Knights and continue to the Ithal Church. Behind the local Ithal cryptid, the Birdman, There's another undead bone shard we can pick up before heading into the river and into the Ithal sewers. On the other side of the Ithal sewers, there's the Ithal kitchen and a random ass hall. We can pass it and go into the Ithal courtyard and grab the first Ithal shortcut. Past the Ithal boss, we can grab the even shorter Ithal shortcut and go back to fight Ithal's boss, Pontiff. If you saw my Chaos Blade 3 video, you know Pontiff was the first boss to be a wall for me, but I'm pretty confident in my skills against him. I have a weapon whose moveset I'm familiar with and enough health to not be shoved 6 feet under by a tap on the shoulder. Did I die here? Absolutely. Pontiff still hits hard this time. I didn't have any armor on, so I was still taking a good chunk of damage. But remembering the practices of CB3 and maximizing the beauty of the Bloodlust, I knew I had it down. I won't lie, it did take a minute, but the boss of Ithal went down. And in the second Ithal courtyard, we can pick up another 2 Twinkling Titanite and make our way down to the Ithal dungeon for the last upgrades and Yorm. We can kill another Mimic for an Estus Shard, and then once at the Profane Capital, we can pick up the last 2 Estus Shards along with another Bone Dust. With all that collected, we can head to the Cathedral again and enter into the first DLC. Running to and across the bridge, we can scale down the cliffside to reach the bottom. Once here, kill this tree and up this newly spawned ladder. Can Hawkshaw give me a lore video on this tree and ladder connection? Are they lovers? I hope so. Anyway, atop the ladder is a Titanite slab, and we can get the katana to a +5. Back to the Profane Capital. I was gonna fight Yorm, like, without the Storm Ruler, but I don't wanna. So, Storm Ruler time. Okay, with that done, we can head back into Ithal and climb into the Cube Room, which looks like something straight out of DS2. Now, let me just say, I don't like these dogs. If these fucking things appear in the new Elden Ring game, I'm not playing any future Souls titles. After a couple minutes of frustration, the one we need to kill goes down, and we can meet up with McDonald's and get Deep Resonant Soul. Is it a good spell? Yeah. In fact, Splunker did a whole run on it, and it was really good in that run. But in this run, no. Back at the Farron Wolf, I give myself 2 more items, the Wolf Ring, which boosts poise, and the Wolf Knight's Grace Shield. Before switching to them, I wanted to finish up at least Aldrich, so let's head up in Ithal into Anar Londo, grab the Estus Shard, and make this quick, shall we? You know, not the boss I thought I'd have trouble with. No armor can make some trivial fights not so trivial, huh? I don't know why Aldrich was so hard for me. Even in challenge runs, he's never really this bad. I think it was just some rust that still hadn't been shaken off due to Aldrich being so different from other bosses. I took a break, and the next day, I took Aldrich down first try. We instantly take on Dancer without going to rest because I'm a cocky bastard, and yeah, it goes pretty well. The katana is still holding up really well on its own, and even better with the buff. And with the bleed proc and some good RNG, she goes down first try. Inside Lothar Castle, I lost my mind to the hardest boss in the game apparently. This Ithal Knight. Yup, this dickhead. I love the fast-paced combat of Dark Souls 3. It's so great. I love it. Yeah, it's so cool. So, why was I killing this guy? Well, I just wanted some of the Twinkling Titanite that's in these chests, so I thought killing him would just be the best thing to do. No, for the amount of times I died, I should have just ran for it. Anyway, outside the Dragon Rider's boss room, we can climb up this ladder here, and by taking the lower bridge, we can end up at the last covenant of the run, the Warriors of Sunlight. And here, for my reward, I pick up Sacred Oath for a bonus to my damage and defense. Dragon Slayer armor was like Pontiff. I still struggled with him a bit, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. I know I'm not going into detail with this run all that much, and that's because I just don't want to. The script was just really hard to make, and my last Dark Souls 3 run was with another katana, so if you want to know my strats for this run, go watch that one. It's more in-depth than this video, and frankly, way more interesting of a run. The archives was boring, like always. Yeah, there we go. With the archives done, I went over to respec over at Rosaria's to use the old Wolf Curve Sword, and youch. This build was a stat hog. I had almost no health. I forgot about the Blades of the Dark Moon Covenant, but I went there, so I had stuff from that. The reason I switched here was because of the strat I applied in CB3, and that was using a shield for Osiris and his dumb insta-dash. I still have low health, but this time no armor, so I'm taking even more damage. The damage from the weapon, though, made up for these shortcomings. It wasn't the cleanest, but we won regardless. Gundyr was Gundyr, like always. To go finish the last optional boss of the base game, I take a nappy and get kidnapped by some dragons. Not my ideal Thursday. Ancient Wyvern is boring, Nameless King is what we're really here for. Speaking... Hiya. You're probably wondering why you're hearing me right now. You're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be watching the rest of this video. Well, I'll be honest. It's almost 7 in the morning on Christmas Eve. I was supposed to have this video done 2 days ago. As if you couldn't tell by the way I recorded my original script, I hated this video. It was a bore to play, it was a bore to edit, and it was only mildly entertaining to edit. It was a bore to edit. I hated editing it. It was mildly entertaining to edit. I'm tired. So, all that was fun. And I was like, alright, I won't sleep. I'll just finish the video, get it out of my mind. I get out of my bed to edit it. And I realized that the last 2 pieces of footage just don't want to show up in my editing program. And it's 7 in the morning. Like I said, I don't give a shit about this video. I don't care. I'm just not gonna figure this out. I've lost all hope. I hope I've just made this video at least entertaining a little bit. Because I don't like it. I'll make at least one last decent upload before the year ends, but Jesus, I'm sorry. I should have had another run done. So you're getting this classic outro from me as that video editing sits in my other monitor, sad and unfinished. It wasn't much, it was only 2 extra minutes where I just rushed through the rest of the game and talked about it while I complained, so you're getting pretty much the same thing, just without the good footage. So, there'll be a video up before the year ends, maybe by the end of this week if I edit it fast enough. It's a very simple video, but I will be back to making actual good shit in January, I hope. Hopefully never make a video this bad again, because this might be my least favorite video now. But that Dark Souls 2 spell only one still very strongly hated in my heart. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you watched the end, God, I don't know why you did, but thank you. I will talk to you later.